Hello everyone, back tuning in today's second video. So we've already done a weekend forecast, which you can find here on the homepage, or video to it on the homepage. Just scroll down a little bit and it's underneath the link ads. There's also the written version. Get to that via buttons at the top of the page. Going to be a more changeable week this week, and eventually we might end up quite cold by the end of the week. If you want to know more about weekend forecast, check out the video and a written post if you want to do that. This is CANSIPS Saturday, so we're going to be going 6 months ahead with the long-range Canadian model. It does what it says on the tin. Actually, we're going to go 7 months ahead because we're going to start in January. Normally, we would start in February and go through to July. That would be our 6 months. But this month, I want to start in January, so it's going to be more of a 7 month look ahead, if you like, but it's the same idea. We'll be going through to July into the summer. Now, remember, this is just for fun. It's not to be relied upon whatsoever. The first couple of months, they do have some scientific merit because they're only a couple of months away. So hopefully the model is working correctly. They'll be picking up the right signals for the next month or two. But as we go out 3, 4, 5, 6, in this case 7 months ahead, it really is in the realm of being just for fun and very speculative. So don't take it too seriously, whatever you do. We will start off by having a look at mean sea level pressure anomalies. Then we'll have a look at temperature and precipitation. We'll finish up going through the sea surface temperature anomalies and see what model is predicting in terms of ENSO through the first half of 2017. Before I get on with that, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on all pages. Have a browse, visits, and click through links. If there's any articles that are interesting you're having to pay for our website, thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads, both pages, which own content when you watch it goes, which again does have to pay for gavsweathers.com. So we'll start off with mean sea level pressure anomalies for January. And I should just say this website we're using is tropicaltidbits.com, and you can find a link to Tropical Tidbits on the links page. Big thank you to Tropical Tidbits for allowing us to use their information and their charts. So we'll get on with it now, and we'll start off with mean sea level pressure anomalies for the next 6 months. It's going to begin in January. So actually, as I say, we're going to go 7 months ahead, but 6 months from February through to July, if you see what I mean. So for January, the mean sea level pressure anomalies placing a ridge over and to the west of the UK. Looks like I've got troughiness to the south of us and also to the southeast, which actually looks quite a cold signal, I think, there. We'd probably bring the winds around, certainly from the north, possibly even from a northeasterly type direction for January. So it's seen a fairly cold month. It hasn't been particularly cold to start off with, but it is seeing a fairly cold month coming up for January. We'll have a look at temperature anomalies in a moment. Now for February, it seems that things are reverting to a more typical pattern. So we've got low pressure to the north and a ridge down to the south, which is bringing in the flow from the west. And again, over here, we've got ridging there, low pressure up here, which is suggesting westerly is coming through. So February looks a more Atlantic-driven and milder month, the final month of the winter. Get through to March. We're getting further away now, of course, so confidence is falling. March is a rather odd looking chart. We've got a trough of low pressure in the Atlantic. Otherwise, I think it's a little bit further displaced south than you would expect. And otherwise, not a great deal going on there in March. Very difficult to decipher what the signal is for March. It'll be interesting to see what temperatures and precipitation look like when we get to it. For April, it looks like we've got below average heights, or below average pressure really, going to the south of the country. Although it is showing low pressure around Iceland. I think pressure actually is anomalously high there. So we might have some sort of ridging up here and low pressure going through here. So April, I should say, could be quite an easterly type month and maybe a little bit wet in the south. We get through into May, and that one also is looking very difficult to decipher exactly what the pattern is in May. I suspect we've got some sort of ridge anomalously out to the northwest of the British Isles, possibly up here, and then a trough down to the south. So April and May could be very easterly type months. A lot of dry weather potentially in those months, but with a lot of easterly, possibly northeast winds. So probably not terribly inspiring weather, perhaps, for April and May. Then we go through into the start of the summer, so this takes us to June. It's 5 months away, so just in the realm of being just for fun. Don't take it too seriously. It looks like we've got some low pressure up here, although it is showing perhaps, or hinting perhaps, at some northern blocking up there with those high pressure belts. So we might have higher than normal pressure actually to the north. But I think overall, the Azores high is down to the southwest, got low pressure up to the north, and we'd probably bring the jet stream in to the north of the British Isles. So I would suspect that's a fairly typical type pattern for June, really. Could be some decent weather in there, although possibly quite changeable at times. And then we go through into July, and I'm not sure this is looking terribly good for July, but of course saving grace is that it's 3 months away, so presumably we've got some sort of ridge around Greenland. It looks like we've got some ridging out to the northwest of the British Isles as well, and below average heights seem to be in, quite unusually for July, but seem to be in across Spain and the central Med. So I would have thought again with this we could possibly be bringing the wind in from a northeasterly or northerly type direction. The Azores high is there, but it looks like it's a fair old way from us. So that wouldn't be terribly good scenery, I don't think, for summer really. But it is so far away that it isn't worth being too concerned about it. So let's have a look at the temperatures. We'll come back to January because it is going, the CANSIPS model, it is going for a cold month in January, particularly so for England and Wales. But look how cold it is down across Spain and also across many central parts of Europe as well. So it is seeing a cold and average month, significantly so for some parts of Europe during January. We get through into February, and this one is looking milder than average. The Atlantic is returning in February, of course. Notice how warm it is compared to average anyway. Remember, these are anomalies across many northern parts of Europe. For us, it is milder than average. It looked an Atlantic-driven pattern during February, and that's what model is seeing then. Let's carry on. Go through to March, and this one is also coming out with above average temperatures. Again, most parts of Europe coming significantly above average during March. April, which I thought could be a cooler month, is still coming out a little bit milder than average, as it is for most parts of Europe. I thought for April, it looked like we've got a little bit of a southerly tilt to the jet stream, possibly having some ridging out to the north and the west of us. The above average temperature anomalies continue into May as well, so the model is seeing a very prolonged spell of warmer than average weather once we get this January out of the way, which is a cold month for parts of Europe. It's seeing temperature anomalies above average all the way. June, 5 months away, so just for fun, that's coming out milder than average. And then we're going to finish in July. There we go. And still coming out with milder than average temperatures. I'm quite surprised about that because to me, the mean sea level pressure anomalies look really quite disappointing in July, but the model still wants to go to those milder than average temperatures. What I would say is notice just how warm it is really for example, in July. There's hardly any below average temperature anomalies anywhere in the world. We have got some down across the South Pole, just there, but essentially no, most parts of the world are essentially average or warmer than average, which I'm a bit dubious about. It's also a bit colder than average there to south of Greenland. But I'm a bit dubious that the world would be quite as above average as that. And it's the same story, really, through many of these months. So, I mean, April does look a little bit colder there for North America, particularly, and the Northern Atlantic. But, again, still a lot of above average temperature anomalies there in April. Anyway, we go by what the model is suggesting. It is going for quite a warm first half to 2017 for sure. So having a look at the precipitation anomalies next, and so for January this month it's coming out drier than average, so dry and cold really is a signal for many parts of Europe during January. February sort of has a north-south split, so we've got ridging down to the south with drier than average temperatures there. Bit above average with the precipitation up to the north, and the flow coming through rather like that. So it looks fairly dry in the south, wetter up in the north during February. March is going a little bit more towards average, possibly even hinting at being a bit wetter than average, I think, through March, particularly across the northern parts of Europe. Looks quite an unsettled one, that one. April is coming out near normal, but I think it hints at being a bit drier than average to the north and a bit wetter than average down across the south in April. In May, again, I think we are hinting at being a bit wetter than average, especially so to the north. So I think it is going for quite a mixed sort of pattern during the spring, although I suspect there will be a lot of easterlies within there. And then we go through to June, which is looking drier than average. So quite a nice month in June, actually. I was a bit pessimistic about it, but June looks drier and warmer than average. Will be a nice start to the summer. And then July still hints at being a little bit on the drier than average side as well, to be honest. So fairly nice couple of months there in June and July, but they are months 5, 6, or 6 or 7 if we go from January. So in the realm of just for fun, and don't take it too seriously. Finally, just have a look at what CANSIPS is doing in terms of ENSO. So right now we still have the legacy of that really weak borderline La Niña to ENSO neutral event. Let's run through the first half of the year, and we get through into March and April, by which time any hints of La Niña are gone. We're back to ENSO neutral there as we get through into the spring. Now, the last few months with these CANSIPS updates have been developing an El Niño through into the summer. And, well, there we go again. We're up to June, and we've got the signature of El Niño beginning to re-emerge there through the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean. Yes, it looks like El Niño is starting to come back. And that continues into July and August, and by September, we are into quite a strong El Niño event. Looks like it's Madokai El Niño as well, so it's warmer in this part and cooler over here, so it's more of a central based El Niño, but it's a fairly big El Niño being signalled this month, and it continues to strengthen into the end of 2017. Now, we've got a very long way out, of course. We're up to November now, when it looks like we've got a very strong, or certainly moderate to strong, El Niño event taking place. There's the scale on the side, and you see we are going up to around 2 degrees above average, maybe a bit more than 2 degrees. So going for a big El Niño event this month, CANSIPS, for the middle and latter stages of the year. Now, I'm not sure how seriously we should take that, because we are before the spring predictability barrier, and what happens in the spring predictability barrier is that essentially the models particularly struggle to get this signature for the summer and into the autumn. So usually you have to go beyond sort of April and May and get into June and July before you find the models find the true sort of pattern that's going to occur in the Pacific Ocean. But it is a strong El Niño that it's going for. It's only a year or so ago that we was in that big El Niño event of 2015, 2016. So if we went that way again, that would be quite remarkable. It certainly is consistently going for El Niño. It's just a question of how strong this is going to be. I think it might be only a bit over the top. There's not a great deal of model support yet to have a big event, but you certainly wouldn't be ruling it out, and it's so early that in the year that it is possible that we might have this. We might find other models when we get, say, past the spring predictability barrier. Try saying that when you've had a drink. When you get past the spring predictability barrier, we might find other models going in that direction. So we're going to have to wait a few more months, really, before we can firm up on it. But we're going to do a first ENSO update, off on a bit of a tangent now, but we're going to do the first ENSO update, actually, at the end of the month. So we'll have a full look at all the models and see what's going on in the Equatorial Pacific towards the end of January. So if you're interested in all of this stuff, ENSO, that kind of thing, it does play a big part when we do winter updates. If you're interested in what could be happening through 2017, keep an eye out for the ENSO update that's going to be released at the end of this month. But in terms of what model is doing in terms of the weather for the next few months, well, it's a bit of a mixed bag, wasn't it? It looks generally quite warmer than average, although January is cold, most parts of Europe, but the rest of it looks pretty warm. I think it's probably gone a bit over top with that mild signal. And in terms of precipitation, again, quite a mixed bag. There's a mix of weather in there, so not a huge amount of information could be gleaned by it, really. But what I would say is that we probably are more on the drier side, I think, if anything, through the first half of 2017, as we was back in 2016 as well. It was a pretty dry year, so we might have to start thinking about a drought by the summer if it doesn't start raining more consistently. Okay, that's it for now. That's CANSIPS Saturday done and dusted for January 2017. We'll do it all again next month, but that's all for now, and thanks for watching.